Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ekta Sehgal Malhotra, your host at the Motherhood Club talk show. Today, we have a mother who's adorned with many qualities. She is joining us all the way from Kuala Lumpur. Captain Dr. Dinisha Bhardwaj Singh. A very, very warm welcome to you, Captain, on our show.
Thank you so much, Ekta. Pleasure to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. To talk about Captain Dinisha, there is so much and more that can be spoken about her. First and foremost, a mother of two beautiful girls, 19 and 11, an ex army veteran, converted or turned into an educationist, a motivational speaker, a leadership speaker, a keynote addresser, has been on as a presenter at a radio in Shillong, and so much and more to her. She believes that you must bring a smile to every individual who is there in the society. As a tradition, we do not read profiles because we feel that whatever one has achieved is best said by themselves rather than be read by someone else. So, with this, I welcome Captain Tanisha Bhardwaj once again to our talk show where she is going to be talking about a very important aspect of being a mother. Let's be friends, mom. Celebrate quality time for a quality life. So, Captain Dr. Dinesha, I would request you to please introduce yourself a little more in detail and dwell a little more on the topic that you have chosen, which is an important aspect of your motherhood journey.
Thank you once again, Ekta. It's pleasure to be here. Introduction, you have spoken adequately, and rest is it's me here. And the best introduction for anyone is that we do justice to humanity, and whatever we earn, we should uh, we should be able to reach to that level where we start giving back, and that
Very
is what my endeavor is, that wherever I am, the journey doesn't stop. I'm still on a walking mode. Sky is the limit. I still believe and strongly feel that you cannot motivate people by words. You can motivate people by your strength and the perseverance with which you are walking along.
wonderful, wonderful, very rightly said.
It's a pleasure, and being mother is the greatest achievement of any woman. Wherever you are, whatever you do, when you are a mother, there are uh, a kind of multiple responsibilities which you hold, and which you hold with lot of pleasure and big smiles. So that is what I feel about life, and I feel about being a mom. As Ekta introduced, I have two daughters. Ashana, she's 19 years old, and she's studying in MIT University, Noida. She's a BA LLB undergraduate. She's in third year. And my younger one, the gap is 8 years, and she's with me. She's in standard seventh, Adya. So that also speaks about my journey as a mom, as to why the gap is 8 years, and how we are taking it forward. So just to connect, and then I'll hand you over, Ekta, again for your other questions. I was in Indian Army when my daughter was born, and as Ekta introduced that I am a veteran, that sounds makes me sound oldie, which I will never believe even if I reach age of 80 or 90. Besides where what I am, so with that, I I really felt myself enriched as mother when I was serving in Indian Army, and that was my desire to be a mother. I mean, after marriage, you certainly feel. And one more reason was there, that we are late born children of our parents. So I felt that I should have children in time. And that's the reason that after marriage, after an year plus, I conceived. But the news of conceiving and the news of my posting to JNK came together. And I was not knowing whether I should be happy about that I am going to be a mother, and I should be, because I volunteered to be part of getting that posting in JNK. I just want to tell you that I volunteered because I wanted to be part of that active area. And this all came during when the Kargil was going on and almost about to close, precisely in the month of November 99, December 99. Sorry, yeah, it was finishing. So when I went there, then I learned that. And during my posting in JNK 2001, my daughter was born. And though certainly you move up and down, but it was tough being an officer, doing just be in a place like JNK, and then being a good mother. So the theory itself and the story itself is quite long. I'll restrict my answers to your questions. Whatever you will be asking further, I'll dwell upon those answers, because itself I can write a book on this, bringing up my elder child in Kashmir. To that extent, I'll just close it with one sentence, that when I was posted out from JNK, my daughter was precisely 1 year or something. And my commander, when he was delivering speech for my dining out, he said, even we call her Tina at home. So he said, even little Tina deserves a ribbon for for spending 1 year in JNK area. So that was the level. I hand it over to you for your further questions. I'll answer
Wonderful,
accordingly.
wonderful, wonderful. Um, you know, just the thought that when you got the news that you are on your family way, and then you were posted out to a sensitive area, and you honored your words, in itself speaks volumes about you. That here you were to become a mother, and you were willing to serve the country, who is also addressed as our mother. That is what makes the army people or the defense personnel stand apart from. So duty before self is the motto, and you truly live that. Wonderful. So I'm sure, being an army officer at the time when your daughter was born, and then in her growing years, you were still serving the forces. How easy or difficult was it to be able to spend that quality time or quantity time with your daughter? Because definitely your work was such that it demanded you to be available at any given point of time. So how did you strike that balance?
Yeah, this I really wanted you to ask such a question where I can tell it was not easy, because it was not easy. That's how I devised certain techniques within myself, that I can uh, do justice to my work as an officer in Indian Army, and then I can do justice to being a mother. As I said, my daughter was born in 2001, and then sometime she spent there, and then I was posted to Punjab, in Firozpur, where I mean I have connects there as well. But then I was posted there, which I managed so that I can stay with my husband, and my husband also managed, but we got posting 35-40 kilometers away from each other, so still we couldn't stay together other than those visiting family members in a weekend. Now coming on to bringing up that time and this time, it was kind of initially it was JNK, which is a hyperactive area, anyways. And believe you me, this child was small. I was very lucky that way, that I got somebody. There was nobody from family, but I got a girl to be with me to take care of her. It was only that time when in JNK I was doing duty officer at midnight. I have left my child crying at home when there was an emergency alarm at night, and 2:30 I have to go, and with that alarm she woke up. and I left her crying, and I went with my carbine machine gun, which used to be ready at home, quickly changed into uniform and check. Or I went on to duty checks at midnight, because the time was decided as per the tactical and I was not knowing whether I'll come back or not, to that extent. Because at night when you're going, checking all the peripheries of where you are posted, it's not for the namesake. It's a, you know what kind of area and responsibility is. And I was in a deep, I won't name the place, I was in a very, very active area that time, beyond Baramulla, where people even name it and understand, because even civilians understand what is the importance of that place. And there, when I was doing this, somewhere I was feeling that I'm not doing justice to my child. But then there comes the question of quality. Quantity, certainly, because I have to give quality. I had to give quality to my organization also. So I tried to do justice to quality to my daughter, as well as to the girl who was staying with me, taking, just being there with my child. No other work she had. So there, I used to, whenever I used to cut down upon me. I used to cut down on my sleep. Midnight, when child used to get awake, small baby, I used to play with her. She used to, her sleep is finished. That girl used to make her sleep. Midnight, she used to get up. I used to play with her. I used to run short of sleep most of the time because of this. And then, of course, I followed all the normal protocols, medical protocols of being a mother, where I was feeding her as per the doctor's advice. And there are many such incidents. One incident I remember, when I was on maternity leave and I was traveling to that place beyond Baramulla to join for one day to take next year's leave and come back. And it was in the month of January when I traveled. And that time, my baby was 4 months old. And I took her. That time I was with my husband. He was on a course in Jodhpur. Flights get cancelled, if we know, in JNK. So it was kind of wo saat din for me. I remember wo saat din. I traveled for 7 days consecutively. Went and came back. In between, one night I spent at transit camp in Jammu, and one night I spent at my place where I was posted. And while coming back, morning I got delayed, and when I was coming back, the child was totally on my feet. And I was given a gypsy. I was sitting in front holding my baby, and of course the guards and the vehicle and other things. I had a flight luckily that day. So in between there was a news. All the vehicles and traffic was stopped, telling that there's an ID en route and the bomb disposal squad is coming. Unless that comes, nobody will move. I kept sitting, and I didn't have anything to eat. I had not eaten anything since morning. There was nothing to feed my child that time. Commander gave some toffees and chocolates little box. I opened that thing, thinking what it is, and I made my daughter, who was crying, first I tried to feed her sitting in front seat in gypsy, wearing uniform. And when probably that was not satisfying her, I made her lick that chocolate, which was not supposed to be done. She was just 4 months old. And I kept sitting there for 2 hours. Then the bomb disposal squad came. They closed it. I reached airport, and I see my flight taking off in front of me. And I had to go back to transit camp, and next day I traveled by convoy. So these are some incidents which I'm sharing, not to scare and not to take anyone and not to take even sympathy from anyone, but that they did not deter me. They made me more strong, that yes, you can set an example, and you can give more quality time to your child, and you can motivate others who somewhere face this. That is why I'm using this forum to talk to people, that there can be bad times in our life when you feel that you're not doing justice, but these bad times turn out to be strong points to your children tomorrow when they grow up. My daughter is very strong. When I talk to her, she's 19 now. She's very strong, and she's the one who takes care of others when there is a requirement. So quality time, as far as that is concerned, that is very important to be given to your children, whether they understand or not. Maybe a 4-month-old child doesn't understand, but whatever child is uttering at night and you are responding, ha, ho, that is adding to grooming of the child. And that is how I devised that quality time is very important.
Beautifully, wonderful. And I completely agree that, what you shared, I have experienced it, maybe not as a mother, but as a daughter of an army officer, having traveled to some of these remote places, having gone through areas where landslides or, all these things happen. And then you have to wait for hours, you run out of food and all those things. So I completely understand and empathize with all that you would have been, and more so as a mother, where you would not be so much worried about yourself, but you would be concerned about your child. And for you to acknowledge that since you didn't have much choice, so you gave her to lick that toffee so that at least it will satiate her for some time, because there was sugar intake in it, and as a child she didn't know what she was taking. But really, I should really salute you for doing this, to be to have served the army, to have lived your motto that duty before self. That is wonderful. So, and I'm sure Dr. Dinisha, that when you tell your daughters about this, especially the older one who was with you, she will be very, very proud of you, that my mother did this and she was right in doing what she did. So, moving on, as you said that the age difference between the older one and the younger one is about 8 years. So normally, I mean, you can choose not to answer this question, but normally when children, parents intend to have a second child, they keep an age gap of about 3 to 4 years, so that it's easy. The older one is good, grown up enough, and then you can take care of the younger one. So why did you choose to have an 8 year gap?
I would love to answer this question because what happened was, as I was taking you through the journey of bringing up my older one, Ashana, and then at number of, as I said, I made her lick toffee. There was a time when I heated her milk, which was in cold water. I was mixing with milk, and that was not there, and there was no place. I was in guest room, so I heated that water with dryer, hair dryer, and I heated her bed with dryer because there was no heater in that room, or no blower in that room. So with that, I felt that I'm guilty. I wanted to be mother, and my child kept crying because of cold, because during this journey only, I'm telling you. And there are some more all that improvisation. I used straightener for some purpose. I used straightener for heating her bread. I used dryer for heating her milk, like that. That time in train, there used to be no plugs for charging or something. So we removed that bulb in AC2, and we put the two pins of that small rod. When I bought that, I need to make her milk, and then I put that small immersion rod in bottle and heated that this thing to create milk for her. So these are the experiences which made me think that I'm selfish as a mother. I wanted to be mother, but I haven't done justice to my child, so let me not have a second child. And there were many friends in army who said you should have a child. As you said, they'll be friends and they won't trouble you and they will grow together. I said no, I should not have a second child because I'm not able to do justice. It is criminal. Ultimately, when this child started growing, uh, least you realize is that one child becomes a precious jewel for you, and you say, oh my god, what happened to this? You start protecting that child too much because of your own maybe guilt, or because of your own love and affection or pampering or whatever. The child becomes too self-centered and weak. And then I realized this girl was kind of getting dominating in nature. She was not sharing anything. She used to burst into upsetness very soon and all that. So I realized then that there should be somebody for her when tomorrow we are growing old or we are not there. Who will be there? Actually, your first sibling comes to you. You are there to help each other. And there we thought that I should have a second child. And that was the time when I almost was quitting army. And then I decided that now it is the right time to have a second child. And I need this second child for my first child. And that's how I went for second child after 7 years, and brought her into this world after 8 years of their gap.
Wonderful. We have one of our Facebook friend, Ela, saying that she's saluting your innovative skills as a mom.
Thank
She's
you.
also a mother of a daughter and a grown-up daughter, and she is really saying that you are saluting. So, how was it different to raise the older one vis-a-vis the younger one? That you had more time on hand, and I'm sure you were working because you turned into an educationist, but at least that those rigorous lifestyles were not there. So what was the difference, and were you able to manage that with your older one, who would have said that mama maine to ye experience kiya tha, but it's kind of easy for the younger one? So how did you deal with all of that?
Yeah, one thing is that how was it difference? I would answer that first, and then I'll tell you how I'm dealing. I'm still dealing with that. So the difference was that this was the time when my husband got posting to Shillong, and then we first ever time in life started staying together. And there I thought that I should have a second child. I was thinking before and only. So there I had this second daughter. Yes, I was in switching into different mode of my career. I was doing my PhD that time. I was selected for scholarship in PhD in Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, and I started working on my PhD. I was working with this All India Radio that time on part-time basis, and I was working with one of the NGOs doing a lot of social work. Money as far as I was earning was in my scholarship in PhD. Rest was all social work. Whosoever offered anything to me, I didn't take, because I thought it is not my career, so let it go to the society. So I was going to remote areas, delivering lectures, motivation talks, and all that northeast and for my research purpose also. And that was the time I had conceived this little one, and then she was born also in 2009. So that time, one good thing was that my husband was in a very good posting and good place and good position. So I didn't suffer with that, and there was a complete paraphernalia to at least be there with me. Certainly, no family member was there, but at least there was a protected people around, group of people around me. But since I was always people's person, I was kind of part of various activities, even for as army has welfare activities. My husband is in border security force, so a lot of welfare activities were there, and I have a nature that I'm there for anything you call me, I'm there. And how I'll manage that I'll see later, but I'm there for that work. I would always jump and do that. So I was doing that. So it is not that 100% time I gave to her, but yes, one thing is you learn what mistakes you do for when you bring up your first child, because you take it as a piece of joy in your hands. You don't actually technically plan and tactically plan to give plan the growth of that child. So that I worked on my second child, that she should be taking care of all that. And then yes, that time I was working on my child, the older one's education as well, because she was 8 years old, and she was struggling for school and other things. And then with the sibling coming in, it becomes difficult. Small child may not understand, but the child who's been alone with you for 8 years, and all of a sudden your attention gets diverted, there is a turbulence in mind of that 8-year-old child, and that becomes difficult for parents, and we have to really manage. Otherwise it sets a different thought process in mind of that child. So then I was striking balance between all those things. I remember my younger one scratching my face because I was doing work on computer for my PhD. I remember my older one getting bursting into certain things which she wanted me to spend time with her, not the younger one. And then I remember that I was doing some work for welfare, and even the older members of my family, my husband's side, they felt jittery that why am I doing this and that. So striking a balance with all that, that is what I was doing there. And that was tricky. By that time I had learned the techniques of being tricky, and I was trying to strike a balance so that grooming of these two children happens in a best possible way, now more planned way. The mistakes I have done there should not happen. This child should learn to manage all by herself, and then a bond has to be there between these two. For the purpose I have the two children, that should be there, and then I'm able to do rest of the responsibilities also. So that was a time, a tenure, where I stayed in Shillong, where I did all that, and I started my second innings of my career there as well. So that was the time where I understand the gaps and bridge them, and probably come on to that level where I started even advising people onto it.
Wonderful. So, for all our viewers and who was watching or who would eventually watch this conversation between Captain Dr. Dinisha Bhardwaj Singh and myself, both parents in the forces when they had their first child, one in the border security force, which means always posted in places where there would always be something or the other and would be required at any given point of time. The mother, also in the army, posted in place where again one would even think 100 times before going. And then to plan a second child and yet be um, in a situation of dealing with the older one and the younger one, pursuing her studies and doing work, indeed is very, very, what do I say, very tough, but yet, she's able to manage it. Today, the girls are 19 and 11. And that leads me to a very interesting question, uh, Captain Dr. Dinesha, that today, when you look back at all these years of being a mother, right? How is it that as you have chosen this topic, that let's celebrate quality time for a quality life, right? So, when you look back, how do you see these 19 years of being a mother from your perspective?
I see, there are two perspectives. I'll answer first my perspective, then I'll also add my daughter's perspective also. So, my perspective is that of being a mother, and then 11 years of being mother of two. It had been a challenge where initially I celebrated motherhood, then I walked on to the challenges of motherhood, then I learned actually how to strike a balance for motherhood, and then I started walking smoothly onto that motherhood, and then I call myself as a person who has balanced the motherhood well. Whereas as far as the quality is concerned, when you want to give quality, perspective, I'm not talking about children's perspective, I'll tell you children's perspective later. So when you try that, you try to establish quality to celebrate happiness, you cut down on you. You have to cut down on your own time, because I cannot cut down on my professional time. I have to do justice wherever I am. And being in senior position, there is no scope, even if I'm on leave or wherever it is. I cannot imagine to cut down. Where children fight with me that you're on leave, why you doing this, why your laptop is open whole day. Coming early doesn't mean that you come early and open your laptop and sit down. That was yesterday's story. So and today I'm still sitting in office. It is 7 something here. Irrespective of that, you compensate, like whatever you compensate in money, you compensate in luxuries, you compensate in being friends to them. I'll especially make a mention, allow me onto this, that how can the moms be friend moms, or even parents, mom and dads can be friends. That is very important to be understood. So you strike a balance, you try to strike a balance in all that. You can sometimes play with your child, you can sometimes go for an outing with your child. I remember I have taken, when I was on leave in Delhi, I took my the older one that time, to Doll Museum. We two went to see the doll museum in CP, and then younger one to picnic sometimes or to some outing. Even I invited her friends when we were in Indore, and my husband was posted out, and the older one went to her this thing hostel, and this one was alone, and she was very upset. So I took her out and called her friend also, and we went to zoo for picnic. So I tried at multiple levels pleasure, reading what pleasure they are looking for. If they want to buy something and I even don't feel that this is the right thing, I say, okay, go ahead, buy it. I am compromising onto your time. I'm not with you because of my career. I compensate in the form of money. I compensate in the form of time that, okay, let us go out on picnic, let us do that. So that is what I try to do. There are people who try to check me on that you never say no to your children. Mother's Day is there and children want, okay, give me 1,000 rupees, I want to buy a gift, and they buy all stupid things from market. And I allow them. Or maybe there is in suppose something she wants to buy from market which is not worth, and I allow, and she says that I bought with others haven't. So people checked me that time that that school only, that you are doing it, children will get spoiled. But I have this opportunity to announce it proudly that Tina Eshana, who's my elder daughter, who's in college now, she prepares her budget. She says that this much is my hostel expenses, this much you are giving for this thing. I have to close my budget within 3,000 rupees, though I have given my card to her. She can access, I don't even check what amount, but she checks even ordering extra food, that this doesn't fall in my budget, so I month. This is how it has gone. I have given the full liberty, but also there is something which is unwritten and unseen which we need to simultaneously keep teaching our children, that value and worth for money. And that is what children understand, and really proud to feel that both my kids, Adya and Ishana, they take care of this for small little level. When they see the tag, I tell them, don't see I'm there, but I like that they are seeing it, because they see that is it worth if I'm buying or not. So that is how it is when we try to give quality time and quality happiness to our children, howsoever, whether we are compensating in the form of money, but let them to the brain, or knock it to the brain. When I'm spending time with them, let them understand that yes, simultaneously mom is tired today. She had a full day at workplace, and when she's coming home, she's tired. I'm giving my time, that simultaneously a feeling has to be developed. That is what it is. Otherwise, again, it will be a unidirectional flow. Grooming is in our hands. When I give quality time, I have to groom my children in such a way that they understand the worth of this quality. That is my perspective. I'll add children's perspective also. 70, 80%, 80% roughly, they are happy with this perspective and they appreciate this quality time. Heart to heart, they recognize. But one thing which recently my elder daughter, once she got frustrated, she's stuck up in Chhattisgarh with my husband, there's no place to go and all that. She made a remark. There's a movie, Shakuntala Devi, which has come up with a great mathematician. And if you have watched that movie, the girl is very frustrated, her daughter. So my elder one made a remark that I feel like Shakuntala Devi's daughter. I said, I feel great that I don't know what you are criticizing here, but I feel great that you are comparing me there. I want to reach somewhere. So that is a lighter part of it. But sometimes children get frustrated when they start taking it as right, and then they don't somewhere they give up, and they fail to strike a balance for that, and these kind of things come up. That time also you have to be very, very mature to just be a good listener. Give them a patient hearing, they will understand. Not that every time you need to advise the children. I'm sure all listeners and all who would watch this program later, when children touch teens, they start retaliating your lectures, they start retaliating your advice. They don't want to take advice from you. Understand and listen to them. Maybe they will repeat your advice to the younger one, what you are giving to them. Maybe they repeat your advice to other people, but they don't want to take advice. My request to all the parents or all the listeners, mothers and fathers who are there on this platform is that that time, please be a good listener. My request to my husband is also this: please be a good listener, because he's the one who quickly goes into lecture, and then she starts saying Gyan Maddo. So that time, stop saying anything. You know that she is wrong or he is wrong. Your child is wrong. You know that child will understand after a while. You know that if you are getting trouble, the child will understand that pain and may come back to you with maybe an apology or a kiss. But that time, don't speak. Just give a patient listening to your children for a while, especially when they touch teachers. Trickle down the age level where children are growing even at the age of 11 or something. So that is the difference, and that is my perspective and children's perspective onto this quality time and receiving the quality time.
True, very true. In fact, anybody who tells you that you're not doing right by giving the liberty to a child to buy whatever they want to, I think parenting is very individual. Every parent has his or own way to deal with things, and they alone know why they are doing what they are doing. Having said that, each of us has our own ways to deal with situation, whether we buy things or we don't buy things, whether we pamper. I think the most important thing is that the essence should come out, that the value system that you are trying to imbibe in a child, for a child to be a good decision maker, for a child to be a good human being, that should be very, very important. And I think you are doing a great job by doing that. What your style may differ from mine or from anybody else's, but that's the thought process that you have, which is absolutely wonderful. So doctor, you've told us so many instances, and what has been that most memorable moment with both your daughters over the last, 19 and 11 years?
There were many memorable moments when your child starts walking, to your child starts speaking, when your child starts standing by you in difficult times and understanding. Uh, Memorable moment is when your children start, representing you. When your children start actually representing you in society, and when they start walking, as you said, parenting is an individual style, and something may be right for me, may not be right for you, or right for you may not be right for person X. So certainly this individual style, because you also follow the style which can trickle down to your generation, and what are your expectations. Nothing is universal truth, nothing is wrong. Only the thing is how we make it flow down the channel. So the most memorable moment for you and your children, always I take it is not one moment, it is multiple moments. Those moments when your children have represented you the way you wanted them to be groomed and come up in society, when they did justice to being you, and somewhere you felt that you are getting recognized by their names. To parents, that is the most memorable moment, when you get recognized with your children's identity, when you go to their workplace, or when you go to their educational organization, and when they are doing wonders, and somebody says, oh, you are Adya's mom. So that is the most memorable moment for a parent, that yes, they are onto right path, they are choosing their right journey in a right way, that they have started establishing their identity. So for me, there were many such moments when they have established themselves, and I felt great that with their identity I felt that recognition. So that was wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think, there is, with all these examples and all those inputs that you have shared, you've, kind of very nicely spoken about that, let's be friends, mom, and celebrate the quality time for a quality life. So before I wind up this conversation with you, one piece of advice that you would like to give to all the mothers or parents who are watching us or who would eventually watch this. So, what would Captain Dr. Dinesha Bhardwaj Singh's advice be?
Uh, yeah. Instead of advice, I would just like to share something which can be taken advice at individual level, the way you can perceive. I would pick up the first sentence, first word which I said, the friends' moms. or friends' parents, and trusting your children. I would like to quote one anecdote or incident of life where I'll connect it to what you want to take it down as advice. When my children were growing up, like doctors say, after 6 months you can give water to the child, then you start giving external diet, soup or juice or something. So not in a big way. I mean, at home, when both my children, when they were growing up, I started, first time when I touched water, I click pictures, but this is your water ceremony. I fed soup to these two children. I said, okay, this is your soup ceremony. No calling of crowd or something, family members. And this is your juice ceremony. I click pictures. Now, my daughter, when she turned 18 and she went to college, she went to college in 17 only. So when she turned 18 and she, children are growing in a different environment, and everybody is exposed to everything. So she said, "Oh, Mom, uh, I want to taste alcohol." I said, grow 18, then we will do that. And we will do it on your birthday when, like, you turn 6 months and doctor advised you to take, advised us to give you something external food. Ceremony, like we did your soup ceremony and juice ceremony. We couldn't do because that time all four of us were at different places. So when she turned 19 recently, she said, Mom, can we do wine ceremony? So I said, okay, we will do. My husband was against it. He said, no, it is not good. I said, see, the child is in an environment where she's seeing. Would you like that she is hiding from us and she's doing it? So instead of that, let us give her permission. Let her give her right to hold herself in society. There is nothing wrong. So my husband managed. He was in field area. He managed a bottle of wine with a great difficulty, and I didn't have wine here, so I put some water. And we are on call on a WhatsApp call. And at night when her birthday, 6th of August is her birthday. So at night, there it was 12 o'clock. Here in Malaysia, it was 2:30 midnight. We had that wine ceremony where we did cheers and we did that wine ceremony. And then she said, "Oh, it tastes bitter. It doesn't. Don't like the taste." And then she, in different occasions, she started tasting something, and she said, "I don't like the taste. I don't want to go for it." But whenever she is doing it, she is talking to us. She is doing.
Brilliant.
Why I'm quoting this example? I'm quoting this example is to develop trust in your children. Sometimes, or rather, most of the times, we do something. I may take liquor, but why my child? No, it should not be. It is not right. Yes, there is a barrier of respect. That is a different thing. But if your child is, you feel, you sense it, if it is, there is something. Number one, have trust in your child. Number two, be a good friend of your child. That is my request. It is not advice. That is my request to all.
True.
Start becoming friend to your child when the child is touching teenage. I remember my dad used to say old thoughts. Anyways, I had a gap of 20 years. My dad and me, we are after 28 years, 20 years later after we were born after 20 years. So he said that जब बेटे को फादर का जूता पूरा आना लगे, so दोस्त बन जाना चाहिए. Kind of thing he said. I have taken it down in a different way. That you give to your child when the child turns 13. Tell your child, even if the worst of the thing happens, you are there. Even
Correct.
if worst of the thing, mistake the child commits, the child should come back and tell you. The child should be trusting you, and you should be trusting your child that there is no gap. And this is my request to all: bridge this gap. Wrongs will not happen. Your child will tell you, child will not hide. And if the child has to do something, the child will do anyways. So it is better that you are in picture and you are guiding them, and your child talks to you as a friend. Maybe your girl talks to you about the friend she wants to make. Maybe your boy, these days we appreciate, yeah, my boy talks about girlfriends, but we will never appreciate my girl talks about boyfriends. If moms, if you have girls, let them talk to you about their boyfriends. If they want to have a feeling, if they are having a feeling about somebody, you cannot stop. Go back to your teenage. It's a natural thing. But let you be a friend to your child, so that there is no gap and the child doesn't go on a wrong track. If we follow this trend of parenting, I'm sure it will be a very, very happy parenting. And ultimately, the bonds and relations will be wonderful for tomorrow. And children, let me tell you, will understand your responsibility, and they will carry that responsibility of your values or whatever you want to stress upon them, rather than stressing upon, ingrain it by understanding what they want to do. This is what I want to express as a request, not as an advice. If we can take it, I am sure nothing will go wrong. Thank you.
Wonderfully said, and wonderfully said, Dinisha, because we have Poonam Saxena, Manju Chadda saying that very true. Trust is everything, and by sharing this example, definitely it is a suggestion, advice, guidance that trust your children and create an environment of exposing them to the good, the bad, and the ugly in the house so that they do not get a rude shock when it comes in front of them. And not only did you do that, but you also gave the power of decision making to her for her to decide whether she further wants to consume or she doesn't want to consume. So that empowerment, that confidence was instilled in her, and I think that's a wonderful job. And this brings, as much as I would not want to close this conversation, but of course, motherhood is such a topic that we can go on and on talking about it. But to keep the conversation to the core of it, to the essence of it, I think you did brilliant. You shared very, very honestly your journey, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sure a lot of mothers, parents who are watching, who watched, would definitely see that the effort, the challenges that you've been through as a mother, and the guidance that you have given to all of us. We definitely go back enriched. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was Captain Dr. Dinisha Bhardwaj Singh from Kuala Lumpur. And when I said that she's an army veteran, I didn't mean that she's old. What I meant is that she has served the army and won many accolades, and turned into an educationist where she's doing wonderful. She's a principal in one of the well-known schools in Kuala Lumpur, and she's an adventure freak. She loves to write in English, horse riding, rallies, car, bikes, you name it, and is there. Credit to this lady here who is doing a great job being a mother of two grown-up girls, and I congratulate you for being an exceptional mother. And once again, I salute you for all the things that you did for the country. And it was wonderful, wonderful having you here. And for all you others, listeners, this was our conversation for today. And we will be back again with yet another unique journey of a mother. Till then, be safe, take care, and uh, you know, um, you all are doing fabulous. And Captain Dr. Dinisha, Poonam Saxena joins me in conveying her salute to you. So wonderful, wonderful, superb having you, and hope to be engaged with you on another platform or in another conversation. Till then, take care. And this is Ekta Saigal Malhotra, your host and host at the Motherhood Club Talk Show.
Give me 1 minute, Ekta. Thank you so much. I have spoken on various forums, but salute to you to bring in a forum which actually is much desired and deserved, is being a mother and talking on that. I really feel honored talking as mother and talking about journey as a mother, because it has been really as if somebody has given me an ocean to open. And it was great interacting with everyone. Certainly I am an army veteran, but yes, it is always being young at heart. And you are a wonderful, host who has opened such a platform, because we are learning from each other. We are learning from each other's experiences, and it is always enriching to know others' experiences, which add value to bringing up our own children. Thank you so much, all the mothers and parents. Cheers.
Thank you. Take care. Have a and good night to you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.